Hello and welcome to yet another amazing episode. We are doing part 2 of the Q&A, the questions that you have sent me on my DMs and that you have continued to send me. I'm so grateful for last time's video that made you send me more questions. So I'm going to be answering more in the part 2 of Q&A. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with anyone who you feel might benefit from this information. And if you're a returning subscriber, a huge thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's get into the part 2 of the Q&A. Welcome. So I'll just go straight to the questions and I'll be reading the question that you have asked me in my DMs. A lady told me, I lost my husband 3 years now. I haven't dated. Is it okay to now? Is it okay to date after 3 years of losing a loved one, a spouse, a partner? Personally, I will only say, first of all, hugs. I honestly can only imagine how painful it is, especially if this was a healthy partner, a person who you loved, a person who you had a future with. But let's talk about loss generally here, because it's, yes, very different when somebody has passed on, and it is also another type of loss. So I'm going to just talk generally on this question, because I'm basing this question not just on this one who has lost a loved one, but also another question that I've been asked a lot about when do you know it's time to move on after you've just come from divorce and all that. I know they're very different. Don't misjudge me on that. But I'm taking it as a loss, because honestly, something that people never really know is that even a divorce, even a separation, even if you are never legally married but you are with this person for a while, there is still some sort of loss, and you have to grieve through it, and you still ask yourself these questions. Is it time for me to move on, or should I stay? Is it what's the time frame like? Yeah, so we'll just be talking about time frame after the loss of either a relationship or a spouse. So I'm going to generalize that question here. And how I would answer it depending on my own experience and also the experiences of other women who are out there. Usually, most of the time, it's never about the time, because coming from a point of a person who lost their mom, I know you, even if you have not seen it, just go back to a video that I did. I think it was sometime last year about the loss, or the big loss that I experienced in my life, whereby I lost my mom when I was 10. I can tell you for free, it has been 24 years now, but the pain, it doesn't change. It doesn't change. Like the minute, like right now, when I've just started talking about it and going through that emotion, I can almost feel myself almost tearing up. Yeah, and it's been 24 years. So what am I saying? Time in this point, honestly, let's just be very honest, it doesn't really make things right. It will never stop the pain. It will never stop all those emotions, you from going through this emotion. What usually happens is that, and I'm not a grief coach. I'm not very equipped with things to do with grief. So I would also advise, especially if you've lost a loved one, and that thing is you're still experiencing the emotions and all that so much that they're affecting your day-to-day life, please find a grief coach or just a therapist. Talk to someone, a professional on that session, yeah, or on that sector. But time will not really make everything right. Yeah, it's only that things happen, so many things happen, like over the course of that time. For me, I think in 4th grade, what we currently now call 4th grade, and I had to go through the whole system, go through high school, chose boarding, go through starting my life over again. And there are minutes, there are times when I really feel very broken when I think about not having my mom in my life. And then there are other times when I look at things on a positive aspect and I think, you know what? She might have been taken, yes, but I look at all the other things that I have. I see my daughters. I see my last born daughter who takes after the name of my late mom. I see all the things that God has blessed me with, and I say, it is well. It is well because we are all in this same journey. It's not something that we choose to. And also for anyone who is out there and has gone through a divorce, you mourn as well. You feel the pain. Honestly, this is something else. You have invested time. It doesn't matter whether it is a year, months. It could even be dating. Heartbreak is real and it's pain and it's loss. It's loss. Let's first of all agree on that one. Loss is loss. Yeah. I lost that. I got out of the toxic relationship and I knew it was bad for me. And but let me tell you, I had to mourn for it. I had to mourn over the dreams that I had of this, of the possibility of thinking that maybe one day we could have actually brought up, the notion that we usually have of kids need to be raised in a home with a mom and a dad. I had to mourn all that. And I really had to confront all these parts, all these fears, all this darkness. And finally, at the end of it all, the trick was not in how much work, in how much time I took, but it was in how much work I did. Like I've said, if you have lost a loved one and this is affecting your day to day life, or you're unsure whether you need to move on or not, simply because you have not let go or you feel like emotionally not ready, find help. And if you're a woman out there who is either struggling in that toxic relationship or have left the relationship, but you're still having all these emotions while you're fluctuating between the depressive phase, the acceptance, the anger, the negotiation, all that is part of healing and moving on. Also find help. Find a therapist or a coach like me. And I've said countless, I've been able to work with women through this journey because this is what for me had to happen. I got myself surrounded with such a strong system that the time that I took out of that relationship and my current relationship was less than 2 years. Yes, I said it, less than 2 years. And let me tell you, I up to date right now. I have some women in my class who left the relationship or toxic relationships some years before me, 2, 3, 5 years before me. They had never moved on. So what's the difference? It's not about time. It's never about time. It's about what you put in, the effort that you put in to move on. I had to learn which patterns of me or which parts of me were making me attract the toxic relationships or the toxic people, and how could I be better. I had to unlearn, to relearn, and to learn new methods. And honestly, it's a journey. Remember, all these things or the way I've been showing up didn't just come overnight. I had to gain all this in a span of over 30 years. So I'm still in that journey. I did it maybe some 4 or 5 years down the back, but I'm still walking through this journey because every single day we evolve. Every single day we learn something new about ourselves and about our partners. Yeah. So I'm not really going to say whether you're ready or you're not. And this cuts across both, whether you're in a toxic relationship and you left or you lost a loved one. I will not say there's a definite timeline, but I will say this for a fact. It's not about the time, it is in what you do. That is what the trick is. That is what the game changer is. If you want to move on faster, find help. If you want to do it your way, it's still okay, but be willing to take the lessons and the time in between. The time actually comes in because you are learning how to navigate through it alone. But you find help, then you find people who have walked that journey before. They know that if you use this path, then you're gonna get heartbroken or get some lessons and all that. But definitely you will still get where you're getting. But the time there can either be divided by 2 or multiplied by 2 depending on how you do it. Do you decide to do it alone or do you decide to do it with help? I usually say you're saving 2 things in this life, either one, money or time. Yeah. So if you decide to save time, then you do it alone. That's okay. But if you decide to save this time, do it with money. But the pain, honestly, never really leaves. We just have other things that come before that pain. Yeah. And that shifts our focus from that pain entirely to something else. But I deserve that. I know that everyone deserves to be in a happy and committed relationship. And once those people are gone, they are gone. We give a chance to some other people. Yeah. With that said, I'm going to move on to the next question. And the question is, how do I know if a man is real and serious? How do I know if a man is real and serious in a dating app? In a dating app. Boy, oh boy, let's talk about dating apps, because this is a new headache. It's the modern day headache, and especially for high achieving women like you, like me. I know most of the time the women in my circle, in my tribe, are high achieving women. And I know that if you're navigating this, you might need to roll up your sleeves, because man, it's not easy. And it also depends. I usually ask you, are you, they say in Kenya we talk about this, there's this saying that says you shower and you go back to the market. The marketplace is now back to dating. Yeah. After a relationship it has just been cut short, right? And the thing is, then again, if you find yourself in a relationship that makes you cry over and over again, they say that you are dating from the side of the onions, you're on that side of the market, because these two are making you cry. But then there's another good side, the side of a baby girl treatment, where you're getting high value men who want to dine you and wine you and actually love you and appreciate. They will love you, right? And they will appreciate you. They will not be competing with you, but they will be complimenting you. Yeah. So the thing that you get to know whether a man is real and serious, I always say it, the most important one, he will communicate clearly, and not just with his words, but with his actions as well. What do I mean by this? When a person, most of the time as women, we are guilty, including myself. In the past, before I did this self-awareness journey, or I got into this self-awareness journey, I used to think that simply because you're hanging out with someone, they're calling you late into the night, they're wishing you a good night, telling you good morning. Sometimes you hang out with them, that is what that gives you the right to call them a boyfriend. Or simply because you're having babies with someone and you're living with them, that qualifies them to be called your husband. Honey, hey. And I know that this is going to elicit some comment out there, but in this age and time, we have come to find out there's a difference between a relationship and a situationship. And most of the time, situationships come in when the lines are blurred. When they're blurred, when this person is not communicating clearly. If you ever have to ask the person that you're in a relationship with, like, what are we? Who are we? Most of the time, I usually say that person is not serious. Because when a person is serious, and especially a man, they know what they want. They're very different from us as women. We're emotional. We tend to feel or think with our hearts, but for them, they're logical. A man will only come to your life and commit to you if only they see that later in future, or your path and theirs actually align, that you can build something. I'm sorry to say this, but especially for me, or for most of us who are hopeless romantic, thinking that the person is just going to love you, they first of all need to see the value. You see this whole question of where men are asking, what do you bring to the table? Nowadays they're expressing it, but honestly, before they were just supposed to observe it and note, is this woman, do I feel like she can help me to build the kind of future that I see for myself and for my family with my kids and all that. Yeah. So a man will be very clear and precise. I want you to be my wife. I want you to be my girlfriend. I want you. I always say, you will never say that, you never claim that you own a car if you're just driving it, but you do not own the logbook. What does that mean? You can drive it but not sell it. That's the same way even about relationship. That's the same way about relationship, and especially marriages. You leave a marriage once you have been in a situationship or cohabiting or come we stay or whatever you call it, from whichever part of the world you're in, and that is when you will learn whether you are actually truly married or you're just cohabiting. Yeah, whether it was a relationship or it was in a situationship. I have a video in the past where I've said for the past 10 years in my life where I was in a relationship, I was actually in a situationship and I did not know. And so many of us are in situationships unknowingly. Yeah, unknowingly. Let this be clear. So in a dating app, how do you know whether a man is real and serious? One, he communicates clearly He will tell you right from the beginning. One, he will ask you to be his girlfriend and actually treat you like one. What does that mean? If it's talking, very consistent, calling you, dialing you. And let me even just say number two, which is connected to number one. This person will take it from the dating app and actually be intentional about it. This will not be the person who just hear from saying, good morning, honey, and then good night, and then sometimes they disappear for a week, or they disappear during the weekend, or they're not there during the weekdays, but then they show up during the weekend. Honey, that is somebody who is just there for his own or other ventures, just not relationships and commitments. Yeah. So I hope that helps. One, are they communicating clearly and precisely? Two, are they have they taken it, or have they taken the initiative to take it out of the app? Are they dating you intentionally? Are they getting to know you? And are they making you feel like you're actually a priority? Yeah. That is it, the consistency. So look into that, and that is how you'll be able to learn whether this person is serious or they're just the usual men who hang out in dating apps. Because we have learned that 70% of the people in dating apps are actually men, and half of these men are not actually even looking for committed relationships. So what are they there for? Help me to answer that in the comments below. Yeah. Another question is how to know if a man is okay, that is the one that I've answered. Another one is how do I date even though I am an introvert? How do I date even though I am an introvert? Wow. I know it's a struggle, especially when you're not very spoken, or even when you talk too much. And I did a video previously about when you're too much, right? And if you have not seen it, please go back and see it. The video is that, am I too much? Because this is something that I've had from women. So this is the flip side. So what if you're too quiet? Yeah, if that is even a word for this. The contrast. And I said even the too much, that you will never be too much for your person. The same way, you'll never be too quiet for your person. You will just, there is always somebody for you out there. Yeah, you do not really need to be too quiet or too loud to find your person. And I said specifically, I'm very loud. I love to talk. I love to put myself out there, just in the right when I'm comfortable and all that. But to some places, I find myself very quiet. I know you're thinking, quiet, how? But imagine, yes, sometimes I'm very quiet in some settings. But with the right person, they bring me out, me, myself. And then in other setups, I have to show up, and especially dating, that's the one place where you will always need to show up as yourself. Because if you show up as something different, my friend, then you're going to attract somebody or something that only wants that version of you. And you cannot pretend forever. Imagine if me, with the way I am loud and sometimes I consider myself stubborn, I get into a relationship where I'm oppressing myself, I'm suppressing myself, trying to show up as somebody who is not me, and then I get into a relationship with someone. It won't even take me a month for me to show my true colors. Yeah. So bring out who you are. Whether you're quiet or you're loud, there's always someone, or there's always somebody out there for you. Yeah. There will always be somebody out there for you. So show up as you are and embrace your true self, your identity. This is why it's very important for you to, first of all, do the self-awareness work. Get to know who you are. That will help you to identify what are you looking for. Because then again, I said previously that you could be looking for something blindly. You're looking for someone, but you cannot really pinpoint precisely. Yeah, they say even in smart codes, you really have to be very specific. So what are you looking for? Yes, this is how you are. But what are you looking for specifically? Get to understand yourself, that you may be able to know the characters or how your person is going to show up. And then now position yourself. If it's not dating up, now you position yourself in a way that you'll be able to attract the person that aligns with you. And that is exactly what the Aligned Love Method is about. What is the Aligned Love Method? Well, the Aligned Love Method is a program that I run, that I have curated for high achieving women who are looking for love. A love that does not compete with them, but a love that actually complements them. A love that you will not outgrow, but a love that you'll actually grow with. And if this is the kind of love that you're looking for, please comment or DM me on any of my socials and get to understand how you can join the program, because man, I love seeing the transformations. I love seeing these women who have positioned themselves in places where they are now ready to attract the high value men, the men who align with them, no matter how you are, whether you're being called too much like me, or like my the lady who DM'd me saying that she's a bit of my opposite. She's an introvert and doesn't really talk much, but you can still find your person just like I did. Yeah. So if you would like to join the program, let me know and I'll tell you. Currently we have a wait list, but I'll tell you when the next intake is going to be, because it's closed, and once we get the people, the doors are closed for a while. Yeah. Another question is, how was I able to identify the right person for my children? That was a huge one for my children. Now, not just about me. And I'm guessing that this is a mom or a single parent, a single mom, right? So many women out here self-sacrifice, like they put aside they themselves just so that they can raise their children, because they are so afraid that they might not find a man who's going to love their kids. But then I always say, despite Jacinta the wife, despite Jacinta the mom, despite Jacinta the daughter, Jacinta the friend, Jacinta the sister, there's Jacinta the woman. What is good for Jacinta the woman? Because if you get to pinpoint what is important for you as an individual, then believe you me, all these other aspects or these other labels, imagine they do not really matter as much as who you are as a person. And the mean that you're happy with the decisions that you're making and who you are, where you are, only then will you be good in all the other areas. I would not be happy. I knew that I was going through too much, being a single parent, worrying about bills, worrying about my kids' health, their school, my own well-being, myself, my businesses, my everything. It was too much for me. Yeah. And it was not just about what this person is coming to do in my life, but also the fact that at a certain age or in a very few years, my kids are going to be all grown up and they will leave me. What will happen to me? Is that time when I did not want to get to that point where I'm now searching for people desperately because I don't want to be alone. Why do I look for my person? And I have seen most women come to me at this age where the kids have left home, so they're like, okay, now I'm ready. But then now we have to do the same work of you first discovering yourself, work that you would have done even when the kids were there, because honestly, you are an individual first. And even before I proceed, before anything else, ask yourself, who are you? And I remember when somebody asked me this question and they told me, and this is what I'm going to post to you, do not mention your career, do not mention your children or your title as a mother, do not mention your title as a wife. Just explain who you are without those things, without those titles. Most of us will never be able to explain. Yeah. But the mean that you can hack that, now you're ready to get into dating. And now back to the question. Sorry to digress, but I need to just put that out there. So how do I identify the right person for my children? Well, it's important to note that when you're dating, and especially as a single parent, you're not just dating just for yourself. You're dating not just for a husband, or you're shopping. Imagine this. You're shopping not just for a husband, but you're shopping to find the father of your kids as well. So what does this mean? This means that you need to be very intentional. This person has to be all round as well. They will not just be there to serve you as the woman, but also a father to these children. And I have given my story of how during my second date, my now husband, we asked whether he could meet me, and by then I was volunteering in this women's shelter. And what we did is I invited him. What I did is I invited him for my first day. And as I was talking to these women, he was there just talking and just moving around with the kids. And I saw how he was, and especially felt very touched when he was holding these kids, and one of them, actually two of them, fell asleep in his arms. Yeah. And I have a friend of mine who says if you can be able to hold a baby and they fall asleep in your arms, you're usually a calm spirit. I personally have a very hard time trying to hold a baby to get them to sleep because I feel like I'm hurricane. So I have so many things going on even in my mind. So just let myself calm down to a place where all I have to do is to get a baby to sleep. It's really not a walk in the park. But seeing him doing this with these kids just resonated to me that he could actually be a good dad. Before, I had not even thought of him like even a potential boyfriend. But this made me look at him from a different light, yeah. And then just listen to them, their values, how they grew up. All this, it's going to tell you what kind of a person is this. But most importantly, is for you to have done the self-awareness work. Once you do the work on yourself, you're working on healing the relationship that you might have lost, especially if you've had toxic relationship. Which relationship is the relationship with yourself? This is why I said it all now goes back to how well do you know yourself? Because if you know yourself, then you trust yourself. And you will be able to listen to that inner voice. The inner voice that can tell you, Jacinta, this man is a good person or this man is not a good person. And do not ignore it. Do not try to color those red flags pink. Just be very intentional about listening to your inner or your gut feeling. Because honestly, you always know it. You always know it. Even in all the other relationships, when you look back, and I have been told this by countless of women, they knew that this relationship was not good for them. So even with the right person, you, especially as a mother and as a woman, we have something God given, our seventh sense, our intuition. That one will never lie. It will enable you. And then I always say, we attract what we fear. So if the biggest fear that you have is getting a man who's going to come into your life and abuse your kids, sadly, that might be the man that you get. So what you do is do not block out this fear. Actually navigate through it. Try and understand. So why is this such a huge thing? Why is this? What is it about this feeling? What is it trying to tell me? Because mostly it's trying to protect you. This is something that maybe you went through before. Then work on that. This is why I've said self-awareness is going to become a game changer. And then I did a video on when you're introducing your kids and when you know that it's right to introduce your kids to the man. Please go back to the video and just say some of that. You may decide to use that as a guideline, yeah. So listen to your intuition. That is the most basic thing. That is the most important thing. And once you actually trust yourself and your inner voice, you learn that you can navigate through anything. You're not stuck. You can always move. And if it's not good for you, then there's always a way. This is what I usually say. I've gone through my life telling myself there'll always be a way. And honestly, that audacity has gotten me the things that so many of us have, because of fear, they have not been able to achieve. So always tell yourself, whatever it is, even if it's bad, like just be playful about it. Just be playful. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Well, if he's gonna abuse the kids, you're gonna find out, yeah, and you'll be able, and you will actually deal with it. And not even before we get to that point, if this person is not meant to be in your life, if this person is not who he says he is, one way or the other, you will know about it. Just make sure that you're listening to your intuition and you're actually trust your judgment, no matter how tough it might look like. If it means canceling the wedding, be willing to cancel it. Like, be very committed to your intuition that it becomes your best friend, because it will become your game changer and it become your savior, and it will save you a lot of heartaches and a lot of trouble in future. Yeah. So, with that said, I'm very thankful for these questions. Please keep them coming, keep them coming. And any of my socials, DM me or comment down below. Or if you have any other question that you would want me to address or do a video about it, I'd really be happy to do it. So feel free to DM me or to comment. Let me know how I may be of help. And if you would like to join the cohort, the next cohort, it will be in May of the Align Lab program, and you would like more details, please send me a DM as well, and I will tell you how you can be able to join this amazing class of high achieving women just like yourself. A woman who desires to have a love that actually complements her and not competes with her, a love that you can actually grow with and not outgrow. If that is what you're looking for and you're tired of kissing all these frogs and wondering, where's my Prince Charming? Well, just talk to me and I might be able to help. So until next time, bye bye, guys.